your assets and your bank accounts. And they're saying that we will be happy with nothing. Are you happy with that?
No.
Well, that's what this referendum is not only about a republic, this referendum is about the biggest land grab of corporate giants that are coming for the resources of this land, and we're in the way.
That's true.
These are multi-billionaire corporations working together. Now, I don't know if you know about the Australian corporation, but there has never been a Commonwealth. We have never been under the Commonwealth or the monarch in this country since 1973.
That's true, sister.
The corporation worked with the EU and the UN, and they committed treason. Australia then became a corporation. Has anyone got one of the books that I handed out today? Are they reading it? Okay, no, don't say that. Anyways, so what I did was today I went and handed out little pocket editions of the Constitution. If you ever look on the logo on the top, within the Constitution, you will see that it's no Commonwealth, it's called Australia. Because we are under a corporation. We are all members. What they done with the Constitution is when they became a registered corporation, they mimicked the Constitution, they mimic it, they pushed it aside. We actually don't have a Constitution in this country. Everything's called when they committed treason against the Crown in 73. The Constitution was actually mimicked, pushed aside, put into a rule book, which we all came under a corporation. You're all members of that corporation and you don't even know it. In 73, they were meant to hold a referendum, but they didn't, because at the moment, they're in the international courts. The Crown is telling them, the monarch, the British are telling them, clean up your act because we can't cover up for you no more. So Australia, if there's no accountability, so they don't want to be held accountable for any of their actions in this country from 73 up until today. Did you know that Australians can lodge the biggest class action ever and sue the corporation? Because guess what? All contracts 73 under the Australian corporation and government are null and void. Every single contract, so birth, deaths and marriages, your registration of your car, anything you paid the government for is null and void. There is no legal status to it. It's null and void. I've spoken to a law firm. They're quite aware of it, and I said, have you got any backbone for the biggest class action ever against the Australian corporate government? Australia, they owe you money from 73 up until now. That's how big this class action would be, because they have been acting unlawfully, fictitiously, belligerently, ever since 73 under the Gulf Whitlam government when they committed treason against the Crown. You have no constitution. You are actually all in a rule book. You are members of a corporation that is actually controlling this country. Now, let me tell you something. Australia is not controlling this country. Australia is not controlling this country. A foreign corporation, a foreign entity is controlling Australia. That's what we're up against. That's what we're dealing with. And you know what they need? This is the best here. This is the trickery. They need your yes vote to come against the sovereigns so they could supersede a corporation. Now this is, see, let me tell you the difference between the voice and treaty. The voice, they can't use treaty because they can't treaty with us because we are living sovereign. We are the sovereign originals of the land. So this corporation, because it's a corporation, it's a dead corpse. That's where corporation comes from. It's dead. It's non-living. The sovereign people of the land, the original people, cannot treaty with a corporation. Cannot. The only people that we could treaty with once upon a time ago was with the Crown. But ever guess what? We can't treaty there because Australia is not under the jurisdiction of the Crown or monarch. So who do we treaty with? The tribes can only treaty with the Bundjalung Nation is why we're travelling now with the treaties and getting all the 15 tribes of the Bundjalung Nation to treaty to protect the Bundjalung Nation and our tribes and all the people who dwell upon our lands, to keep a corporation out. This is where we're at, because this is what needs to be done in this country. It should have been done a long time ago. Now let me tell you why they're using a voice. Because they can't write treaty. Simple. Because they can't treaty with us. So they used another weapon, another tool, another mechanism, and made it pretty, and saying that, and using emotional blackmail, emotional manipulation. Oh, if you mob don't vote for you say yes, you're a racist. That's shame on you. How dare this government say that you're a racist if you don't vote or make up your own mind and your own decisions about what you want in this country. They've got to use emotional blackmail to tell you that if you don't vote yes, you're racist. Shame on them. Shame on this corporation that masquerade as a government. They have no jurisdiction in this country at all. And you know what? We, the people, are allowing it. I don't care what colour you are. I don't care what religion, what background. I don't care, because at the end of the day, this is about all of us. Yes. This is about humanity. This is about the next generation. This government, this is the biggest land grab ever if we say yes to this referendum. And they are using the poor black fellas, using us as the excuse, so you will feel sorry for us, poor fellas. Let's give them back their land. We don't want their handouts. We don't want their pity. We want what's rightfully ours, and that's our land back, so we can look after the next generation and the people who live upon our lands. We're not here to steal, to take anything. That's what they did. We're not like them. We will never be like them. Because we come in love. We come in peace. Now let me tell you something about that trickery. They're good at it. The best thing they're doing, divide and conquer. And if you want to know about all them black fellas that are sitting right there, I call them corporate blacks. They don't work for us, they don't speak for us, they're lying in their own pockets. These corporate black fellas that are selling us out, only a small group of them, but they jingoes. Yet they got a lot to say about our country. And yet they're not our leaders. They are not our leaders at all. We did not appoint them. They've been handpicked. Their pockets are aligned. They're getting paid millions to sit there and push this agenda. Because this is New World Order at our doorstep. This is one world order at our doorstep. And if all Australia doesn't wake up, black, white, brindle. Here we go with that brindle. What's brindle?
I don't know if I should.
I used to sit there and wonder, what's brindle?
I didn't know if I should have gone.
Black, white, brindle, anything. I don't care what colour, because I'll tell you something about colour.
Because I kind of wanted to see.
My people never knew colour. Colour was introduced when they started calling my people blacks. We only knew creation. We never knew colour. Colour was introduced, and they started dividing the people, dividing race. Everything, divide and conquer. The greatest strategic plan of the government is to divide and conquer a people. And they're doing it again with the referendum. They did it in the past with my people. Who's full blood, who's half caste, who's vaxxed, who's unvaxxed, COVID, everything. Your race, your colour, your religion, your community, everything, you name it, they have done it. This is what they do. Do you think Peter Dutton, I spoke to someone and they said to me, Cindy, I went out to the Jennings in language, you call the Tenon. The Tenon in language is called the Jennings. So I was at the Jennings and I had a yarn with them about there, and they told me that they're voting yes for voting yes. And I said, why are you voting yes? Because they don't like Peter Dutton. I said, that's not good enough. This is about our country. You can't say yes because you don't like, a politician. You need to know the facts of what's coming. This is New World Order. They are going to seize your lands, your assets. They're going to tell you when to eat, when to sleep, cook, clean, whatever. I don't know, but this is what's coming. They're going to tell you what to do with your kids. They're already grooming our children, teaching them wrong way, evil stuff that we don't want in the minds. You know, this is what they're doing to, this is what's at our doorstep. These people don't care about you or your families, about your children or the next generation. We have a country to save, and they don't care about it. They're coming for the resources. I said in Lismore, you know this country, if we were to set up our own currency, I call it tribal currency. Anyways, did you know that we can back that with gold, silver, lithium, uranium, you know, iron ore, gas, and we even got oil? Tell me, why do you need them? Why can't we become self-determined? Why haven't my people done this a long time ago, that we can treaty with all the tribes? You establish one big treaty between all the... We already started, by the way, if you wonder what the kangaroo skins are going around, that's a treaty between the Bundjalung tribes of this nation. We have a Widjabul treaty, we have a Walabul treaty, and we have a Yagal treaty, Nayambul treaty coming. Oh, it's in the car. You want to? You can show them. I think the car's open. I just jumped out with nothing. There goes the car. Nah, Kevin. We have got a battle on our hands. This corporation is not our friends. They're our enemy. You're not my enemy and I'm not your enemy. I'm just here as a First Nations woman travelling to tell the truth. I'm not here to fill your ears with any jargon. I'm here to tell you the truth about what's coming. My nephews, it's in the bag, in the big white bag. Yeah, Yahweh. So we got 15 tribes, and I'll tell you the power. You know this government, no, they're not a government, they're a corporation. Anyways, you know what they fear more than anything? Oh yeah, the people. But one thing, they fear the sovereign people of the land more than anything because they have a fake system.
Yeah, I can see you writing there.
We're always confronting them because they know. So what we're going to do is that we've found a way. There's a young fella, if you don't know him, his name Dylan Wilson. He's been working on the People's Treaty for a while. He's putting up a website and we're asking all Australians to join force because what we're going to do, once all the... This is the Widjabul Treaty. So can I read it to you? The Widjabul Tribal Nations Treaty. Hold it up, sorry. We, the undersigned tribe, clans, family of our respective tribal nations hereby acknowledge, recognise, respect and support the national sovereignty and territorial integrity of Widjabul, the rights of the Widjabul people to self-determination, the rights of the Widjabul people to protect, defend and conserve the country, their culture and lawful rights. Agree to uphold our diplomatic relations with Widjabul with respect and peace. That the rights of all the people dwelling upon the Widjabul lands are protected under Widjabul tribal jurisdiction. And these are a lot of the elders have signed this. We're still travelling. There's 15 treaties to be done up. There's a reason why these treaties are being done. Because if we had all the tribes treaty within the Bundjalung Nation and all the people who dwell upon these lands, they are protected under tribal jurisdiction because sovereignty was never ceded in our country. We've never ceded our lands. And you know what? We thank the Creator for that we're still standing resilient to protect the people of this country. We're in their way, but ever guess what they need? We can't protect you if the Australian people say yes to the referendum. Because we have a corporation that's moving in and they're going to take everything from us. We will have no tribal protection. There won't be no tribal protection anymore as the sovereign people of this land. But don't think they're here to take just away from us because they've already done a lot of damage. You know, to my people, they're here to come for your lands, your assets. See, now let me just refresh your memory. All the land and title offices have been shut down and closed. You can't go in there for your paper because your title and deed don't exist. It's digital. They control it. So they're bringing in the CBDC, central banking, digital currency. They're going to shut down all the banks, and ever guess what they're going to control?
Yes.
Your money. They're shutting down all our farmers and that they can't grow produce, they can't do what they need to do to supply us food because they're going to control what? Food source. That's slavery. But this is worse than we could ever imagine. This is going to be the biggest slave. What can I say? It's right here at our doorstep. So what are we going to do as a people to stand against it in unity and in love, but in resilience that we can keep them out? So once the 15 tribes have treated, I'll tell you where you go from there. Everybody say, what do we do? One, we have community consultation. It's great that you're having all these things, but now we have one thing that Dylan Wilson has already started it for the Australian people. You got to get away from this Australian, you got to call it we the people. Because we the people treaty with the tribal Bunjung, the sovereign original tribal nations or whatever they are, how are we going to put it? But it's got to be we the people. And then I spoke to a sister and I said, you know what, imagine rolling out a big banner with all the Australian signatures, you know, all the we the people with the biggest treaty, and every time we have a community gathering you roll it out and all the people sign the treaty between you and us. Did you know that under the international courts, if they were to cross that boundary, they would be declaring war? Because they cannot under any law, because the sovereigns of the land are the rightful, I don't want to say holders, I don't want to use any of them words, because my people was introduced to ownership. There was never ownership, and you never seen any fences. They built them because our people had boundaries, tribal, spiritual boundaries. Ownership was introduced when colonial establishment was established. Nobody owns the land. Nobody. The land was meant to be looked after and passed down. That was the job of my people, my ancestors. We had a responsibility to look after the country, for it to be handed down generation to generation so they could continue to live on. Nobody owns the land. We belong to this land. We all belong to the land. Don't care where you came from, because you know what? Spirit knows who you are. Your ancestors know who you are. But this is why we all need to sit down and we need to have a good yarn, because we got a corporation to stop. They don't care about you, and they don't care about me, they don't care about our families, they don't care about nothing but the resources of this land. They're coming to dig it up. The more resources they are, the wealthier, the more power they have. And are we going to let them? I'm telling you, if I had my way, I'm telling you, they'd be all, see Kentucky, McDonald's, Woolies, Coles, they'd be all packing their shit, they'll be gone. If I had my way for every corporation in this country, they'll be all gone. Aldi's, I don't care. And you mob will have to grow your own friggin' food. You know, we need to go back to the whole ways. We need to take our kids out of the system and we need to go back. This is the thing about the treaty now. So when the 15 tribes are treaty, they have no jurisdiction in sovereign tribal lands, because we have a treaty and it's binding. They will be declaring war. Internationally, they will see it. They will be in breach. If you were to treaty with the First Nations, we the people, treaty with the Bunjalung, all the tribes of the Bunjalung Nation, and all your signatures there, the first thing that you need to write on that treaty is this. I already spoken to the brother, he's going to put it together, we're going to work on it, but we're going to hold community. So Dylan Wilson, I think some of the mob here got his details. The first thing you need to do is denounce. Because they have claimed ownership over you since you were born. So you have to denounce that you are what can I say the words for that? Huh? Yeah, but when you're denouncing your ties, or they more or less like they owned you, it was ownership, you know what I mean?
Since you were registered, you were
Yeah.
ownership.
But this is what we're going to do. So in that treaty, you're going to denounce your, whatever they claimed you as, right? So Dylan's working on it, that you're going to denounce this corporation, that they have that control over your life and everything, because it has to be in there. That we denounce being a part of this, whatever it was, corporation, monarch, and we now stand with the tribal people under tribal jurisdiction. You with me? You're not standing under. Get away from under. Nobody is under anybody anymore because we stand equal. That balance has to come back somewhere. That's why they say when you get arrested and everything, and the police say their first thing, do you understand?
No freaking way.
I heard you.
We know how that goes, right? So we don't want anybody being under another, because you wasn't created to be under no man. We all were created to be under the creator spirit of all creation in our ancestors. We don't stand under, and we should never ever been appointed or put under an authority, an unlawful, fictitious, belligerent authority that has no jurisdiction in this country since time began. But I just wanted to say to you all, if you can, no to the referendum. I've nearly got no voice, but I just wanted to share. I was there saying, come on, let's go and crash casino.
Yeah.
We wanted to go and crash you. You know what? I was thinking about it. What they call this? We are. What is it? We are ready?
This Worldwide Rally for Freedom.
Freedom. Okay. When someone sent me a thing about we are ready, and I'm thinking, I don't think you are, because if they were ready, they'd be already onto this. You know, I believe, and I know I'm a messenger, because I'm that little woman that runs around stirring up a lot of shit throughout the country. So if you hear about this little Cindy Roberts, Mebangari flying around, Mebangari in my language is woman eagle. But the only time I come out is when I'm called out by spirit to stand up for the people. I've never been about myself, I'm not about myself, and I won't be about myself, because I have a job to do. I was born for a reason, I was born for a purpose. And I tell you one thing, the fight is on right now for humanity. And we have got a job to do, and we've got to do it together, because I can't do it without you, and you can't do it without my people. So how about we all unite and set our differences aside, because they have fucking caused the whole problem in this country. But anyways, I'm done. Any questions?
Thanks, Cindy.
What do we say?
What do we say to the referendum?
No!
What do we say to the referendum?
No!
What do you say to the government? Oh. Yo, way.
Facebook jail. Again.
Always.
Yeah, me either, Rip. My voting days are over. Alright guys, well, I'm going to sign off again. So this one will be saved to the archives. Peace and love to all.